For the past 3 entries, Persona has put a lot of emphasis on the power of the wild card. This is both for thematic reasons as well as game mechanic reasons. Persona swapping has existed outside of this, and it's a core mechanic of the series. So should they shelve that mechanic in exchange for something new and shiny?
Oh, please don't misunderstand. This is all purely hypothetical.
So like I said, the power of the wild card is something that's been in Persona for the past 3 entries. It's as much of a mechanic as it is thematic. The Fool, infinite potential, all that stuff. But I really just want to talk gameplay. As far as the story goes, I don't really want to tackle this in a thematic way for this video. Also, this video is less about removing the mechanic and asking if Persona as a series needs to try new things or change its core gameplay formula. And is making such a drastic change a good idea or not? A loss of variety is my main concern. One of the reasons to give your character a mechanic like this is to make them a little bit more special, to add some spice to the otherwise regular turn-based battle system. It essentially gives the main character a bit more customization, allowing you to enhance your battle performance in different ways, making each run unique. Crafting powerful personas with different weaknesses and resistances gives you a huge edge in combat. Since the main character is required to be in the party, you will ultimately want to build up personas with better skills, better resistances, and better stats. It's a different form of powering up your party that your party members do not have. They instead have specific learn sets, and their personas power up naturally as they progress. Removing the ability to swap personas would likely also mean removing a lot of core elements of Persona to some degree. In the Q series of Persona titles, Persona swapping is not present. However, turn-based combat is. Characters in this game take usage of their main and backup personas. The main persona gives them their basic weaknesses and resistances, while backups give them extra HP and SP, as well as skills to use on top of what they already have. However, while this system could be adopted by the main series to try some variety in gameplay, it's also something that might be specifically part of the Q titles instead. Assuming that removal of persona swapping includes all gameplay elements of it, the new way to make things interesting is to allow both the defeat of the main character to not cause a game over, as well as give you the ability to swap them out of the party. In other JRPGs and RPGs, building your party around encounters is important. Every party member fulfills a unique role or a niche, and they usually wind up being useful at least a few different times in the game. This could easily be a larger part of a Persona game if you were to remove Persona swapping. However, at the same time, Persona swapping is something that really does set Persona apart from most other modern JRPGs. Removal of the persona swapping system would ultimately mean that there'd be changes to the fusion system as well. After all, you don't really need to fuse anything if you're not going to be swapping out personas all combat. One way they could do this is by using fusions as a way to learn new skills. This already exists in Persona games, but offering different ways to customize your party members, maybe with a select group of fusions, could be pretty interesting. Instead of leveling to learn moves, you have to do fusions to get them. The passives from P5R could also return in this form. However, to balance things, every party member would need to be restricted to specific move pools. At the same time, this really just sounds like a skill tree system of some sort. I don't necessarily think that's a bad thing, however, I still feel like it's not unique enough or different enough to validate the removal of the fusion and persona swapping mechanics. So in short, I don't think removing a core mechanic of Persona or Atlus's modern RPGs is really a good idea for the Persona series as of right now.
In the near future, there is no mistake that ruin awaits you.
Taking away persona swapping ultimately changes a bit too much of the game structurally. You would remove switching as well as fusion and a lot of reason to visit the Velvet Room. Even if you replace it with something like in PQ, I think those changes are best reserved for spin-off games. Further beyond that, you would need some kind of change to the social link progression when you have the right type of arcana with you. If you want to keep the idea of having specific personas to advance your link, then the question comes off as, what do you want to put in then? I think even just gameplay-wise, while some may find a big change to be refreshing, I think that a huge change in the core mechanics of Persona isn't something the series is totally ready for yet. When I say this, I mean the growth and popularity of the series. Usually when something gets more popular, it starts to set its roots in and implement smaller changes instead of larger innovations. This is likely something done because they know what works, but also changing things drastically might lead to a decrease in their growth and growing fan base. What I think the Persona series needs to focus on right now is interesting and new story concepts. There are a lot of similar beats in Persona 4 and 5. I think to avoid that, they need to find new places to focus their energy so that they can create newer and interesting story ideas that don't feel like they might have been taking a little bit too much from their previous games.
I shall ask you again another time.
No. In my own opinion, the wild card adds way too much to the series currently. Removing elements and mechanics of the wild card, like persona switching, would ultimately damage the game's current position a lot. There's too much overhaul required to make this work, and we certainly don't need to worry about changing the game up that much yet. So as of right now, I don't think this mechanic should be removed. Maybe refined, but not removed. But do you think it should? Do you think the core mechanics of Persona should change? Let me know in the comments below. As always, you can leave a like on the video if you enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel for more things Persona, Atlus, and JRPG related. I know I've been doing a lot of Persona videos recently, but I'm going to keep trying to do other JRPGs when I have something to talk about. As always, thank you guys for watching, and I'll see you next time.